So hello and welcome back to All My Art and Soul with Michelle Holden, the artist behind the channel. And this week I thought I would, of course, I'm exploring further with all of my different kind of, my layering process, I call it now. So if you didn't catch the last video series where in my art journal I worked towards different sequencing of opaque layers, pencil, mark making. This is deli wrap, tissue paper, tracing paper, and of course newsprint, a variety of papers, copy paper, paper from old books, and etc. So all I want to do today is see if I can create the same feeling or effect, it not necessarily in the same sequence, though I know what my usual sequencing is. I don't have gesso beside me right now, so I'll just use a thicker white paint, and that's what this is. And of course glazing, stenciling. And I like to do the big marks early. And that's sort of my initial intention was, okay, instead of maybe doing subtle pencil marks at the beginning, I think maybe it would be great to do some bold, scratchy marks with, I find these types of brushes with black acrylic paint are very effective. So let's see what happens. And I want to use a blue palette this time. So I've chosen cerulean blue. I'm only going to use a little bit of ultramarine and of course the light blue permanent with black and white. All from a Liquitex Basic Fluid, some thick, and of course my favorite transparent mixing white. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm just a little noisy, adding to my glass palette plate. Oh, and to change the temperature, I was going to use yellow, but I'm not now because I know that'll go green and I really don't want green. But just a little dot of the quinacridone magenta is pretty powerful. So I'm just going to put that on the side, and I'm going to move my journal over here. So this will add to the coolness, just change the hue a bit. I've got my Liquitex white and the thicker white. Of course, the Mars black. And you still can't see my entire palette, but that's okay. I'll mix in this area because I don't like the feeling of it being over too much. I get claustrophobic. Anyway, so my tools, I'm noticing as I move forward in my process, I'm wanting to streamline or simplify, and that makes room for expansion. Of course, you'll need a X-Acto knife to trim any collage papers. This is a great marking through wet paint, a big needle or an awl, and a variety. I'm just sticking to the big scratchy brush, the, what do we call this? Flat brush. Smaller one, and this one, when it's wet, it's very interesting. It is it's a number 2. That's what it says. And when it's wet, it makes really great lines, and you'll see how I make them. And also using my left hand, the whole idea is to use less control, and your marks turn out way more interesting compared to having control, at least in contrast, depending on what your contrast is. This is great for going across the palette. Of course, the, what are these called? Catalyst wedges are super. But I like a color shaper, small or medium. And of course, to lift or spread paint in any way, a brayer is really, really handy. So these are my collage papers that I've selected, and I notice I'm also trying to narrow that down. It can be pretty overwhelming when we're choosing so many things. This might not go on as a sort of a hero color. And this pink really I was feeling with the blue. Some opaque collage. This is ultramarine, and that's just on newsprint, spread with the brayer. Some very nice transparent deli wrap with the ghost print of the hexagonal. Some opaque. Interesting. I think it's newsprint, and that was on the jelly plate printer. That's how you get all those subtle differences, just rolling things across. I might want some letters. I love text. I love this little piece that showed up since it's blue, and I thought, oh yeah, that might go. Not sure yet. This might be part of the highlight colors. This, I think, might go because of my circles. It's warm, and it may accept a layer on top or a glazing layer, so we'll see. I like a lot of my layers to be, as translucent or transparent, so we'll see how that goes. And some more beautiful blue on deli wrap. Way more powerful. This is just on the jelly plate printer with stencils, different mark making. It's probably some kind of packaging and some numbers. So we'll see how all this goes. So I'm going to stop my narration now, or my commentary, or whatever you want to call it, and I'm just going to let you watch. There'll be times of quiet, but I will, as requested from a subscriber, and I'm sorry I forget your name, sort of, it still resonates, to keep my commentary, keep my thinking aloud. So I plan to do that. And it's just, if there's sections of where I'm not talking, I can speed up to twice as fast, and it just helps. So let's start. And so I'm spraying a little bit of water on that layer because I want it to be pushed back, meaning I want my color shaper to be able to glide over, but I don't want it I want it still a little darker than the initial mark that I made. So I'm creating depth through my layering process, but I'm not going to do the whole thing the same. I'm going to leave little pieces, and that's the intuitive part where it just, and notice it's getting a little gray, and I like that. But I want to push, so you're pushing and pulling. I want to push that back more, the upper area, just because it'll be lighter, and then it's heavier. So as I've said before in my videos, I like to work dark to light, moving up, whatever that is, gradation, flowing the eye up and around. So there's definitely reasons behind my madness. And even the pencil marks, when they're put underneath a very thin layer, have a really interesting feel. And as you can see, you can move this, change the angle of the color shaper, and you can get different amounts of white. So I'm sort of liking that. This is a very busy season. I don't know if you can hear the background. There's a lot of, since it's past October 30th, obviously, now people can burn, people can, this is the time where they get a lot of yard work done, up where I am anyway, before the snow heads in. We are in the winter season, so I'm just looking. So this is also a lesson, I just thought of it, when you like a piece, when you really like an abstract, and you want to emulate the layers, but not copying, using your own marks. So, different aspects of this. I'll just show you close up. I'll make sure I focus. It's so neat. And this was just my little practice one. So check out that series. I think it's 3 different parts. And the glazing here, which I will end up glazing, I may or may not. Most likely with black, but you never know. And it's through this texture that I like to use this, or a painting palette, because the metal goes over it and it causes some really interesting texture, physical texture. And you can see when you glaze over it, it picks it up. And then you can just leave aspects of it there. This is pastel, so I'll just keep on going. Now, if you have any questions about any further my collage, which I haven't even thought of yet, there we go. That's what we want. Okay. So I think I have enough background. And this is just the background. So how many layers have I on here? 1, the white, the pencil, the white, the stencil, the white. So there's 6 layers on here already. And the layering process, when you only need to think, I call it 1 layer at a time, it just takes out all of that overwhelm and overthinking, and it's really it's a process that I really like, and I hope you will too, and follow along with me. So now, what do I want to do? I think for this piece, I want to explore less collage, more painting layers. So let's see how that's going to look. So while I'm drawing, I'm usually watching, looking at my substrate, my piece, and just seeing, okay, sometimes a new thought will come in. And I think what I want to do is, since there's a lot of neutral, and I might not want so much of the bubble texture, I might bring in some collage. So then I can cover it up with other future layers. So once you start exploring a lot, which I have not been. There it is. Just looking for my collage brush. There it is. Only because as a teacher, we know it is report card season, and things are just really busy. But I know that, once I'm feeling that I have more time, it only takes a half an hour or so to add to a page. You can do your pages in 2 parts. They don't have to at all be in one sitting. The one sitting thing is just really great to get a flow going. So you're just responding, but doesn't mean you can't come in and change it another time or later on. I love this old paper. I don't know what it is. It just has that ledgery kind of look. And I forget what kind of book it was or is. Okay. So as you can see, you can hide some things and let some things show through. And it's only through actually doing it that you get to see what you like, what works, what doesn't work, and that sort of thing. So you're building up your experience, your schema of layering. And while you're also, there's another aspect of this. Oh, this is really interesting. I don't know which way I want to go now. Yeah. Building up your lexicon of mark making. There we go. See, it was just too much the same, so I just cut it back. And I like how I'm still showing those lines and then covering up. So it's like a bit of a transition between the marks. And now, without thinking, just responding, it's finding its own composition. And that would be, I would refer to it as quadrants. See, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sometimes quadrants can turn into horizontal areas. And of course, we like to use the number of horizontal layers, odd numbers. And Yeah, and I like to coat, this is it's a super heavy gloss. It's just Artist Loft, Canadian, Michaels. And so if I don't like a layer, or if I want to lift it or spray it or treat it in any way, it protects the paper just because, you know, it's not on a canvas. So if you are new here, welcome. And we are moving along in this artist journey, and I cannot wait. Behind the scenes, there's a lot going on, and I know I've been behind in my newsletters. If you are a subscriber or on my email list, please hang in there. I am finally sending one out today. This weekend, the same time as this new video comes out every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So it just gives a lot of time for people and me, in case there is some technical issues in the morning. Haven't had any in a while, but knock wood, we don't get any. So as I've said, right, that I wanted it to be a blue painting. So we'll see. We'll see if I stick to that. But now, see how I'm just responding? It might just be better in these colors, because I see so many cool things going on, and I just, blue is a lot different from a neutral. Blue is a very high energy. And as I bring this in, but we'll see. We'll wait. Let's just give it some time. Okay, not yet. Like I said, I am going to try, once this is dry, some blue layers. But I want them to be very light. Light in value. Okay, so this is the teal that I'm mixing. And I think I want to just add a touch of black. Mars black. This is the quinacridone nickel azo gold, which is incredible. And I'm still going to complain that it's been discontinued. Yes, there are other colors, haven't made them yet, haven't used them yet, or even purchased those colors to make. So we'll see. And I don't even know. So I'm just going to spritz this so this glides across, making who knows what marks. Okay. And you see, when you want to mark it up, or just allow a little bit of that under layer. So that's just scratching through. Oh, that seems totally... I'm going to add some of the unbleached titanium just because it's a beautiful neutral. I don't know how the crazy fly got in here. We were out having a nice fire. Who knows? So say if that blue is just a little too blue, so I'm going to put a layer of this mixture over it, and it's a lot more opaque. Ooh, very opaque. Very interesting. I don't know if I like it, so see, you can just do that. Comes right off. And then you can go back. I like to leave some background, this open spaces, so I don't want it so crowded and overworked. Busy is a better word. Okay. Okay. I'm liking this because it has blue, but there's a lot of space in between. That's just your standard letter stencil. Hard to find stencils, I think. And I like how things are backwards. So instead of horizontal, I'm going to go, because I think I want to maintain the quadrant thing going on. I like, and this is the reason why, some high contrast before you put on some transparent collage. So I just thought, well, you know what? I'll put some black stencil here so that the effect of this piece of collage will show more. And I'm going to use the same squares. So it's like a dry brush. Now, I may have covered too many of the bubbles, but that's okay. And just a slight overlap. There. That's okay. And so I can wipe it, and that's why I like to leave a layer of the gloss on top of the paper in case I need to do what I just did. So I think cropping it here and trimming it. I think I want more black in this area as an overlap. Which direction did I go before? Aha, right there. Much better. And of course, you need to dry each layer. I just noticed that it would look even better just one row more. Ah. And this piece of collage, once you add your medium to it, it will become a little more transparent. At least I think. And I think I'll stop right there. Yeah, that's it. And the edges just melt away. Mostly anyway. Oh yeah, they really do. Now, you see how it has quite a line there? So, you know, with paint, you might like it. I don't know how I feel about it right now. Maybe next time I won't crop it. Maybe I can just do this. See, I like some of it left. So that would be too much. So I'm just going to leave it. Whoops. Okay. Too similar, and that's why I'm not going to use it. I like it, so I'm still going to use some stencil. And I'm really liking the big, bold, and I know I've made a really colorful one earlier, and slightly cropping that off. Number 5. A very interesting number indeed. So this is so cool. It's so different. It's bold. It's curly. This is square. These are sort of round. And notice you have the pencil way in the background. You have that initial scratchy that I push back. And then these are coming forward. And then this is there's so many amazing, interesting layers happening. So, and I don't mind that. I really like a nice crisp stencil. So it's still perfecting that, but you know, that's okay. I really want this in here. And what I'm debating, as you can see, we're bringing up the sequencing of stencils. You see, it has the same feel. I mean, in process-wise. Not in the end. And of course the sprinkles, and that's with my finger, and I love this gesso, so I might just reach down here next to my table and use some. It's just that it takes so long to dry, so I don't know if I really need it today, but let's see. Now, you see, if I go horizontal, then it ruins my nice quadrant composition that's happening. So I might just go like this. No, I don't want that hidden. Here. Here. It's rather interesting. I think I will do that. And of course, this is from an old book. It's sort of like a vellum, not like the real animal skin vellum, but it's so thin, it's incredible. So let's see what it does. I want to come closer to my 5. Yeah, right there. Up. Oh, but it tears easily. I just want that wrinkle out. So delicate. But I'm liking how, now, I'm liking how it's still showing the marks. And say in the future, if I know I like to use this, see how the text shows, and it's just such an interesting paper to use. It melts away as well. Not as much as the deli wrap. But you see, having that starting earlier with some text and even automatic writing. You've seen one of my most popular videos on my channel is that one where I use the three 8x8. They're about 8 inches by 8 inches, and put the 3 and make this little series, put them together, and so if you want more of that, let me know. I like to learn, sort of like I like to learn, not necessarily all the time, in my journal, and keep records and notes, and then see if I take it to a different substrate. It can be a heavier card, canvas, or wood panel. And I've got a lot of wood panel work that I haven't even shown. I think it's on my channel. Maybe I'll leave a card for that too, and let me know what you think. So I usually, as long as there's enough on the surface, press down with my finger, because I know it's not going to tear it. And wow, it's so transparent as well. I love it. Okay, let's see where we're going. I don't want to stop and then start thinking too much. I just want to keep responding. So I'm feeling the quinacridone, even though I wasted it, but I'll use it on some, other collage paper making. I think this, just the blue and a little bit of the neutral, is as colorful as I want to get with this page. So I'm just going to use this paint here, which is a teal, which is the teal color from Golden. And it's beautiful. And you see the subtlety. So I'm going to go even lighter, and I'll go in with a brush, say. Maybe I'll even use these. So I need more of the unbleached titanium. So like I said in many videos before this, I'm in the middle of a course, which is totally amazing. And I'm just learning so much. It's not a overnight kind of thing, but I am planning my course, and all sorts of aspects of this. As I continue on my journey, I want to share with you. So if there's anything that you see in my process that you really like or you don't see enough, please leave a comment or ask any questions as I get back to everybody within 24 hours or so. Now, so exciting, so interesting. So this is a slightly, so let's see if it's okay. It's lighter, not enough. So we're going to add a little bit more. You can see what I'm mixing here. It's the unbleached titanium. It's a bit of a skin on there, but that's okay. We're just going to thin it out a bit more with some water because I don't want control. I want to just add some interesting marks, and I'm going to go maybe right over to the edge. So it's overlapping into the other quadrant, but yet the two quadrants are distinctly different. So I'm moving the eye from left to right. And so this is sort of a spontaneous mark, painterly, bringing the eye down. I don't know, I'm just sort of playing around now. So this is yellow oxide or yellow ochre, whatever, you know. Oops, I keep whacking my lights. And it's definitely stronger than a yellow ochre. I think maybe that's why I like it. So I'm going to try now, if we look back and let it dry, there probably could be some thicker white texture sort of building right in here. So I might do that first and then come in with some glazing. So let's see what happens. So I'm skimming over You can lessen your scratches. Now I don't like it going into my number 5, so I'm going to just wipe that away. Hopefully it'll work. Perfect. Okay. So this is glazing now. And what I'm doing is I'm just trying to change maybe the background. What I like to do is use a similar color or value where I'm near another color. And that's why I chose the yellow oxide. So this is going to pick up, hopefully, if it's watered down enough, some of the texture. And then create some interesting shapes, unplanned. So that's where the intuitive shape making comes in. Now, I'm noticing that I would think one of my favorite color combinations is the quinacridone, nickel, azo gold, and of course teal or turquoise. So I think it's going to look great here. If I can get it open. It's been sitting around with the lid not closed. Terrible. Oh, here it comes. And you only need a tiny bit. Okay, you can see that. So it's sort of like a patina feel. When you look at this, see, it's similar, not the same. And carrying this color over is going to help move that eye around, the viewer's eye, of course. Yeah, and I like that I did that a bit more. Not a lot. I don't want that to be the same, so I want it to be very light. Okay. And this is where you can do some lifting. I like newsprint because it's very, it totally took it away. Isn't that amazing? All right then. Wow, I definitely want it a little stronger than that. So I added that little bit of magenta just to get that peachiness. Let's see. I like it. Oh, so now it's picked up that texture. And then you can sort of skim across. And it just, there. And what I like to do when I'm doing the same thing on wooden panels, I like to use sandpaper and steel wool. So if you're interested in any of those techniques, stay tuned, because that'll be a part of my new course that I'm creating. Now, since we have some amazing transparency there, I think I want it in another area, but not with the same stencil. I'm wondering, yes, okay. So I've not torn the deli paper yet. I probably should. Maybe I'll tear an end. So as you can see, I'm just moving things around to see where it might end up going, if at all. See, I think it's distracting, so I'm not going to use it, whereas some black high contrast overlapping right here would be better. What do you think? Okay. I'm just going to use a makeup sponge. Sometimes it does bleed depending on the dampness of your sponge, the thickness of the paint, of course. So it bled there a bit, but that's okay. I'm just going to leave it because I can come in with another piece of interesting collage over it. So I'm liking how that helped with this section transition to that. I may even overlap a bit on the 5 since, I forget which way it was. It doesn't really matter. There we go. It's black since it's the same value. Okay, I like that. That's annoying, but if I go in and try to smudge it or clean it up, it'll just be a mess. So I'm just going to leave it. Now, what was that text? Oh, here we go. Here's a nice piece here. See how it diagonally corresponds with that? So that's going to go in the corner. Ooh, even has some black on it. Oh, jeez. So it has some smudging, and that's okay. It's going right in the corner here. Loving that. It's smudgy, but that's okay. It's just an art journal page, remember? So these are the little pieces that I love to use. And remember that orange piece that I showed you at the beginning? So, yeah. I've buried it under my big pieces of blue deli wrap. collage papers, but I know it's here. Aha. Well, you were here. Probably got blown away when I was using the dryer. Well, I know you're... Oh, no. Oh, I thought I found it. So much fun. Okay, that's okay. So a pop of color right there just seems right for some reason. So notice layers on top of other layers on top of other layers again in different areas. Okay. How do you know when to stop? Well, right now, that's what I'm looking at. It has, I love this splash that was already on the collage paper. So I'm going to come in, finish that off. But I think it needs a piece of strong colored, opaque, this stuff. Yes. Now, how big and where? See how it's very similar? So how can I change it? Should it be really tiny? Should it be long rather than square? See, just that alone helped. And this is how I learn about, oh, so much. Value, scale, composition, without worrying about that first. It's coming second in this particular process that I like to use. And if this resonates with you, you know, let me know. Mention it in the comments. Hop on over to the Facebook group and, you know, let's just, a lot of people are sharing their new discoveries. And like I said, I will be on there more very soon in the future. Most likely twice a month. Question, you know, who knows how that will all work out. So I hope you join me, especially when I'm testing out my course. I don't want to say too much yet because it's still really early in the process. But join my email list, and that's where all the current information will be coming out. So I think I'm almost there, not quite. I need some strong blue near the strong orange, and I'm just going to go like this. And that, see, that's horizontal, that's vertical, and that's all it needed. But to really finish it off, since it's warm with blue, I'm going to first dry it, and then I'm going to so I was just noticing this area, and I'm just going to test it to see if I want some glazing up there. I'm not sure. Now I could have glazed it with black, which I love. Not sure if I like the yellow at all. So I decided last minute, remember that was that piece of paper, so I don't want to go over there too much. I wanted to give it a base. So let's see what it looks like if I glaze it with black up on the top, very thinly. But I'm going to go around. That crazy fly is driving me crazy. And I don't want to interfere with that. So it's a little strong. Don't know if it's working, but I'm going to lift it. And this is where we have to be willing to try things. So I don't like it smudged on the paper. So I added a little more water to this like J-cloth thing. But you see now I've interfered in those previous marks. So let's see. I think I liked it as it was in lighter. So I'm just going to leave that little bit of smudging. I think it survived enough. Now, some gold pen. I don't know, lately I just love adding a gold circle within these black circles. And these are your Uniball paint pens, not paint pens, gel pens. Okay. This is not really working as well as, notice how this brings, it's solid. So if I follow that line down, it creates a really nice shape. So I think I'm going to do that. So I trim it. Yeah, I like that. And it adds to the verticalness of, or the direction, along with bringing the eye down. And I'm not covering up that text there. And if you, I've got blue paint on my, there we go. Need to clean that up. Depending on how you tear, if you lift up, the tear is going to be on that side. On what, it depends which side you want the tear. I think I want it there. See, that balances, it's weightier with the 5. It's picking up some of the color from that piece, diagonally across from that. So it's balancing out. And I was going to use the see if it was blue, but I like how it's chapter 5, and then of course the number's 5, so I have to use this. But not the stripe. Just this little bit. Like chapter 5 of what? It's my favorite thing to do is ambiguity and make the viewer think. And I love and don't have enough resources for some really interesting text, so I have to go on a hunt. What do you use for your text? I'm thinking of printing out some pages, repeated words that I like on copy paper in different fonts, cutting them up and just having a little container full of text that I like to use. I'm sure, rather than stencil, but other than old books, etc., So, I think, besides the little sprinkle that I love to do, we are done. So it's been, this video, I'll shorten it a bit in the drawing places, but it won't go, since I decided to narrate through a lot of it, so it's just over an hour. But you could have split this up into 2, if you had to go do something, come back, but knowing that it does break the flow. So let's see what happens here. Oh, yeah. So all I'm doing is just creating, that's all I want. Okay, I think this page is done. I'm debating whether to put black up there. See, if I put black up there, the contrast, and you make your eye stay there. So I'm just going to leave well enough alone. So let's give it a final drawing up. So I just usually use the X-Acto knife just to do a little lifting. What I like to put a little bit of medium there. I just use the Liquitex, just regular. It's very fluid before I put the tape down, and then you don't get any of that tearing. So this is 140-pound watercolor paper from Canson. Show you. Okay, 9 by 12, and then I measure out 8 by 10s, and here's today's page. So initially my intention was blue. Yes, there's some blue, but I really love the contrasting of the warm and cool, and exploring transparent layers. So I'm loving this quadrant here. Moves on down, and using collage from old books, text from magazines, stencils, pens, pencil. And I hope you enjoyed this particular art journal page and join me for more. And don't forget to check out the Facebook group, join my email list, like and subscribe, as I am planning to grow this channel and much, much more. So I will see you in the next video.